Hello, everybody, and welcome to my first ever interview with a comedian for my blog, Arichcomiclife. My blog is all about my experiences of watching hundreds of comedians over the last 45 years, and I'm delighted today to have my first ever guest, who just happens to be the first ever UK pun champion. It's Mr. Darren Walsh. Yes. Hello, my friend. How are you?
Hello.
Nice to see you. How
Good
are
to
you?
see you too. How's it going?
I'm all right. Are you all right?
I'd say I'm about an 8 out of 10.
An 8 out of 10.
Yeah.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
It's all right, isn't it? Yeah.
all
How are
right,
you?
yeah.
10.
Well, I'm all right. I've finished today for Christmas. I work in a school, and I finished today for Christmas. So that's something to look forward to, I suppose. But it's been a tough old year. But the comedy's kept me going. All you lot have kept me going. So thank you so much for that. Generally,
Yeah. Because you go to, how many gigs do you go to a week?
it's something like 3 or 4, definitely online. But I've seen it must be over 700.
700 in total.
yeah.
Wow.
That yeah. And my laugh. I mean, I'm telling you, my
There's been some gigs. Well, I have to say, there has been some gigs where your laugh has actually saved it.
You're very kind.
When I've been up there and I'm getting like medium to tepid responses, and you're there laughing away, and it's kind of like kept the gig going. So thank you for that.
Well, my friend, you're very kind, because puns are an amazing art form of comedy. I think just to keep going with them, and the pun, it's literally a one-liner, isn't it? It's bang, 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 one after another. But you do manage to keep the laughter going because of the way that you write them and the way you perform them and all the rest. It's just fantastic to see. It really is.
Yeah, it's all about performing, really. It's not necessarily the joke, on its own merit.
Yeah.
It's the fact that you're up there doing them,
Yeah. It's brilliant. How did you become a comedian then? Tell me a bit about your background. How did you first get into it?
Well, it's mostly green. So I can help myself.
Very good.
God, how long ago did I start now? I think it was like 9 or 10 years ago.
Right.
I just did like a workshop,
right.
not thinking anything of it. It was just like, it was just an idea. I didn't have any aspirations at all.
You just thought you'd give it a go and see what happened.
Yeah, just something to do, like invite my mates to and see if they would, if I could write 5 minutes, and then, my mates would come to the gig and if they'd laugh. And then it was like, I'll do it for another week. And then I'll do it for another month. No, I'll go to Edinburgh. And then, I just kept, I didn't have any plan at all. It was just something that I just kept doing it. I still am. I'm still just going, I'll just carry on doing it. No ambitions. I mean, I remember, I think I've been going about a year, and people who I was gigging with who'd been going as long as me was saying things like, you can make a living out of it, and people were like driving to gigs, and that would be their main source of income, and I just couldn't get my head around that, really.
No.
And now no one's making a living from it. So
well, I was going to come on to that later on, because it has been a hell of an awful year, and I'm doing all I can to support you all by trying to turn up to as many gigs as I can. But can you tell me about your first. Can you remember your first ever gig? What it felt like? Were you nervous? Were you confident?
Yeah, just terribly nervous. It's kind of like you're just before you get your name gets called on stage, you kind of feel like you're gonna have a heart attack, you know. And then I remember there's one of my first gigs was the Cavendish Arms, you know, in Stockwell. Yeah. And
know it well.
You're not told when you're going on with that one.
Oh my gosh.
So you're sitting there and you don't know if he's going to call your name, you know, and sometimes you're on first, you know, and you don't know until like he says it. He'll just says your name, and then you just like, it's just terrifying. But yeah, I wouldn't say I get nervous now.
No.
But a bit of nerves is good.
I think so. Yeah, you need the adrenaline, don't you, to get you on and to do it? Because
the best gigs I've had, they haven't been me being super confident.
Right.
I mean, confidence is everything in this game, but the best gigs I've had is when I'm a little bit nervous, you know, so you've got a bit of an edge, I think. Yeah.
That's amazing, because when I sit there in the audience, I mean I've sat at so many gigs, and you can just, because I've seen so many comedians over the years, I can just tell who is enthused for it. As soon as they walk on, they've got to get the audience. And of course, if you've got a one-line pun, you can't go wrong if it's a killer pun, you know. And that's your way in, I always think. And I always look forward whenever I see you in the Edinburgh Fringe or whatever programme, and I see you doing another show. I always think, oh, I'm going. And because you know it's going to be that good.
Oh, thanks, man.
No, it's true. I've been reading a bit about your background in your working life, and you're an illustrator and an animator, a filmmaker. Was that right?
Well, animator, but the thing is that there's another Darren Walsh.
Right.
Who's a famous animator.
Right.
He did the Meerkat adverts.
Oh, right.
He animated all the meerkats on that, and he worked for Aardman. He did a show called Angry Kid, which I haven't seen.
No.
But I have made films, short films, and I do animation.
Yeah.
But I'm probably not the Darren Walsh you've read about.
Well, the only reason I'm bringing it up is that you use it a lot in your shows.
Yes, yeah. So I'm very much a sort of on the tech side of things. You know, I like bringing tech and stuff into my shows.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get emails from people who think I'm the other Darren Walsh quite frequently.
Do you? Right.
Yeah, and they'll be like, "Can you tell me what the song is in this episode?" And I
that must be good for you.
Yeah, well, it was in my show actually one year. I just made up a song and emailed it back.
Good for you.
Some poor kid who's probably
So where did the puns come from? Are you a wordsmith? Did you do English?
No. I failed all my GCSEs, so I'm not an academic. But I always loved. Do you remember Catchphrase with Roy Walker?
So,
yeah.
Roy Walker.
Sorry?
Roy Walker and Catchphrase.
Roy Walker, yeah. Of all the game shows, because generally like pub quizzes and game shows and stuff like that, I just feel inadequate. Like I don't know any of the answers. But with Catchphrase, I knew all of them.
Wow.
You know, before it. Even when a little square was revealed, I'd just be like, "Oh, bone dry," you know, and it'd be the word "dry" spelled in bones or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's. I mean, I hadn't written a joke until I started doing comedy, and then obviously the floodgates opened. But I think my brain is wired that way because my shows can be a bit like Catchphrase sometimes. You know,
well, I love the fact that it is all wordplay. And your brain's always, you've got to listen to what you're saying to get the joke. You've got to keep going with it, and that, it just
I mean,
works wonderfully.
I think it does require a lot of attention. I mean, it can be a bit like sitting a maths test, you know, because it's like and it's like, oh, there's another one, like that, you know, for an hour. So I can imagine it would be like sitting a really tough exam. But you're a teacher, so maybe you're used to.
I'm not a teacher. I'm a support staff. So I work on a reception. And I have to tell the teachers as they go past every day a joke to cheer them up to go into work.
Oh, brilliant. What was the last one? What you told this morning?
It was, did you know that 6 out of the 7 dwarfs aren't happy?
Yeah,
and
classic.
I mean, that is as old as the song, but 2 of them laughed.
That was awful. Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. Can you tell me about your first Edinburgh festival? When you first went, what was it like?
I went up. I went up for a weekend because I got into the Say You Think You're Funny competition. Yeah. And I was just absolutely blown away. Like, I mean, how old was I then? I wasn't young. I was like 33. And I'd never been to the Edinburgh Festival.
Yeah.
And I was just, I just walked around the whole weekend with my mouth open, you know. I saw, you know, Kevin Eldon.
Oh, he's brilliant. Yeah.
I went to see his show, and like, it just, because I'd been doing stand-up for 4 months, and all I'd seen, I wasn't into stand-up at all, like a proper comedy geek with the sketch stuff, you know, like Spike Milligan and things like that. But stand-up comedy, the only person I knew was like, you know, Billy Connolly or Ben Out or something like that. So I hadn't seen anything apart from just the open mic circuit, you know, most of which was pretty terrible. So when I saw Kevin Eldon do this show and it had like lights and music and props, I was just like, that kind of opened up a world of possibilities to me, because I was like, oh, I didn't know you were allowed to do that.
Yeah.
So it was after I saw that show, I just thought, right, I'm gonna bring in all this, you know, sound and vision stuff, and that's what inspired me, really.
What's brilliant about comedians like Eldon is that you never know what they're going to do next, and that I can see through your work with on your shows. Again, you never know what's going to happen next, and it's the element of surprise that makes the laugh start.
Well, even when it doesn't go well, I mean, I don't get heckled.
No.
Really. Like, even when it doesn't go well, I think the people who aren't enjoying it are still sitting there going, "What's he going to do next?"
That's magic, and that's what you want: originality, and you know, that's why I love it. I genuinely think that if somebody said to me, "Who are your favourite comedians who tell puns?" I would say Tim Vine, Milton Jones, Stuart Francis, and you. You, I think you're one of the best there is, and I just.
Oh, thanks very much. It's nice to hear.
Genuinely, and moving on from that, you deservedly won Dave's 2015 funniest joke at the Edinburgh Fringe.
Yeah.
How did that feel?
Well,
daunting.
I think I enjoyed half of it.
I was going to say, can you remember the joke?
I can, yeah. I was asked to tell it about 1 million times. I mean, it's a great accolade. Definitely for someone like me who that's their selling point is jokes.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if a storytelling comic wins the joke, they're kind of expected to, you know, keep telling jokes. Like I remember, what's his name? Rob Orton.
Rob Orton,
He won it, I think, the year before me.
Yeah.
And he's a poet, you know. He's very funny, but he's not a one-liner act. So I think that must have been quite odd for him, like, you know, to be, suddenly you're expected to tell lots of one-liners, you know. If you're a one-liner act, it definitely, it puts your name on the map.
It really does, because because the year before 2014, you became the first UK pun champion. That is amazing.
That's right. Yeah.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
And this led to your book, which you very kindly, where's the camera, signed for me.
What did I have I written your name as a pun?
This is what I was going to say, yeah, and I'm going to read it out to you because we were in a pub, and you said, I don't normally sign books, I write puns. So my one, which is on the front here, where's the camera there, says, I made a cuppa using Richard, but afterwards I felt guilty. And I've never been, genuinely, mate, I've never been as proud of having a joke written about me. And the book is hilarious. Whenever I feel low, I always pick it up and I just rattle off.
That's brilliant.
I love the genre of comedy. It's brilliant.
I've actually signed so many of those with people's puns as names. And I started documenting it, taking photos of it. So they're all on my website. If you go to my website, darrenwalsh.co, and click on my book, it's one of the links there. There's a gallery of all the people's names that I've signed. So that's worth checking out.
I'll be on it then. I should be on it.
Yeah, I only wish I started doing that right from the beginning because I'd signed so many more. I think I only started photographing them like a couple of years ago.
Right.
But there's hundreds more that I just didn't photograph. So I regret not doing it earlier. But
I mean, off the top of your head, when you get a name of a person, that is a particularly difficult thing to do, and to do it well.
It is because you soon realise that most names are quite similar.
Right.
There are limits, but the person who book you're signing doesn't know that the previous guy called Dan had a similar sounding pun, so it's fine. But yeah, I mean, if you scroll through them on my website, they are all quite surprisingly unique. So I'm glad I did that.
Definitely,
but I'm working on I'm just doing a second book at the moment.
I was going to say
I've got enough for another 2 books. But I don't know why it's taken so long. But I'm just sifting through 4,500 jokes. So it does take a long time. But
do you have them all on a PC then? Do you have them all?
Yeah, got them all on a spreadsheet.
You got them all on a spreadsheet. Wow.
In fact, if you'd like to give me a number, I'll just load up my spreadsheet now. If you'd like to give me a number between 1 and actually, is it 4.5? I think I've got 4,000. Let's say just between 1 and 4,300.
Right, 3,820.
3,820. Right, here we go. What we got? As soon as my friend started shopping in posh supermarkets, that's when his weight rose.
2004.
2004. I mean, in theory, the quality is supposed to get better.
Yeah.
Because, as I go on.
It does. No.
Yeah. So here we go. I thought International Women's Day was a guy's. Yeah, that's better written down.
It's all about the wordplay, my friend. And one more.
Go on.
The last one, 4,000 whatever it was.
Oh, oh my. So what was the last one in there?
And this was the last one you wrote?
Yeah. Let's have a look. Oh, I'm going to... let me have a look at another spreadsheet.
I've only got 7.
Yeah. There we go. Here we go. So 4,556.
Wow, that is amazing.
So this is joke 4,556.
Yeah.
The government is banning all medieval jousting tournaments after hearing reports of a massive spike. I might try that on stage. It's not bad, is it?
That's not bad at all. That's not bad
Yeah.
at all.
I haven't tried any of those on stage before, so.
Well, mate, I'm privileged. That is great. You're as bad as me with spreadsheets. I'm currently at 729 comedians, and I'm busy. In the summer, I couldn't afford to get my book published, so I'm transferring all the comedians from my book onto the blog. And I reckon by the end of it, the blog will have over 1,000 comedians, which is
so what's in the spreadsheet? Sorry, is it a write-up?
The spreadsheet is every single act I've ever seen, with every gig documented, every gig listed that I've seen.
No way. Yeah. And what do you have, like a little report on the gig?
I have, yes, I have pointers. I just write words down that remind me what happened at the gig.
Oh, wow!
And coming from an audience point of view, which I always have done, try and document it like I do. So it's like an ongoing enthuse of the comedian. I always say to folk, I'm never a diarist, I'm not a reviewer, I'm not a critique, I'm a member of the audience, and I just go and enjoy myself and try and get the best out of everybody that I'm watching. And
you don't want to be a reviewer.
Oh God, no,
you don't want to do that.
No, it's just not good.
That's brilliant, though. I'd love to see that.
729 comedians. It started. The first one I ever saw was Tommy Cooper, aged 7 in 1974.
No way.
And then we saw Les Dawson. I never saw Morecambe and Wise, but I saw the two Ronnies, Ken Dodd.
I saw Ken Dodd.
Ken Dodd was amazing. I had an argument with Ken Dodd, which is in my blog, which was priceless. I never met him, but I had an argument from the audience on stage with him about a newspaper. He was trying to tell a joke about a newspaper. Anyway, it's all in the blog.
Was it like a heckle sort of incident, or was he just
he came on the second half and he started telling jokes about a newspaper, and I was living in Crewe at the time, and two old women behind me, Ken Dodd asked them, can you tell me what the newspaper is in Crewe? And they said the Chronicle, and I turned round and I went, no, it's not the Chronicle, it's the Mail. And we had an argument for about 5 minutes. And Ken Dodd looked at me and he said, "Sir," he said, "where are you from?" I said, "Well, I'm from Carlisle. I only live in Crewe." And he couldn't stop. He stopped his show for laughing. And he looked at me, he said, "Well, I'll see you on Sunday then, because that's where I am in Carlisle."
Oh, wow. Are you in Carlisle now?
No, I'm in London. I live and work in London. I can't get back up to Carlisle for Christmas because of obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But, no, so I live and work in London. I've been in London for 25 years. So, yeah.
Oh, right.
But
yeah,
my hometown is Carlisle.
Okay.
Anyway, let us move on. We are very nearly through, actually. So you entered the World Pun Championship as well in the same year.
Yeah.
For the UK one. And what was that like? Because were there many people doing it? Or?
Yeah. So that was in Texas.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was great. I think I came 5th or something, but it was very different because it wasn't really, it wasn't comedians doing it. They were sort of kind of very academic.
Right.
So it was kind of like a spelling bee.
Right.
But yeah, it was great. Yeah, it was great. It was a real experience. I think I realised I spoke really fast.
Right.
If you've got a different accent, yeah, that that dawned on me that weekend. But yeah, it's quite a crazy event, you know. Yeah, that happens every year in Texas.
Why are you dressed as a chicken on the front of your book? Is that just because of the name of the book?
Well, yeah, I did a show in Edinburgh in 2014.
Right.
Yeah, where it's called Chicken Meow, and it was I don't know why I dressed up as a chicken. I can't remember now. It's all a blur. But I got some photos of me done dressed as a chicken. Yeah, and then I got and then we were thinking of.
Oh.
Press mute for some reason.
Yeah.
We're thinking of a title for the book, and then we just thought, oh yeah, cheap laughs.
Yeah.
And I just thought, yeah, let's throw a photo of me as a chicken.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
If I give you 5 separate...
I can't hear you now, Richard. Is it? Hang on. Hello?
Hello?
Oh, I think I muted. Sorry, I'm an idiot. I muted my speaker. Sorry.
Can you hear me now? You all
right? I can hear you. Yeah, that was my fault. Yeah.
If I give you 5 separate words...
Yeah.
Can you make a pun from the 5 separate words, please?
Oh,
or is that too much? Don't worry if you can't.
I'll see how many I can do. I'll do at least.
Let me try you with 3.
I'll do at least 2.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, no, go on. Go for it.
So the first one is Christmas.
Yeah.
So if you've got one for that.
Oh, 5 separate jokes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah. So Christmas. Oh, yeah.
I wrote this joke.
It's not 5 words in one joke.
I was going to say,
impossible. Christmas.
I wrote this one the other day. I had a Christmas cracker, and I said to my mate, I said, "It's empty." He went, "Pull the other one." I went, "I tried that. That's empty as well."
Right. Prunes.
Oh, go fig.
Carlisle.
I was in a supermarket up north, and I asked the manager where the Brian aisle was, and she said it's just down there past the Carlisle.
Oh, brilliant! That's brilliant. Hedgehog.
It's a bit of a prickly subject, that one.
Yes, and...
By the way, can I just interrupt you there? One of the best jokes I've ever heard by Dan Antopolsky.
Yeah.
He won Best Joke of the Fringe, I think, a couple of years before me.
Right.
Hedgehogs, why can't they share the hedge?
Brilliant. Yes. Great. And the last one is PlayStation, as in Sony PlayStation.
I saw this PlayStation kid staying up all he was trying to stay up all night, but he sort of fell asleep at 2 a.m. I'm totally making this up as I go along.
No, really.
And then I saw a Sega.
Brilliant.
Do they still even make Segas? Oh, that's how I'm my age there. The Sega kid. He got to go to bed quite early that night as well, but there was no rest for the Wii kid.
Oh, my friend. I mean, that is off the top of your head. That's brilliant.
I think I might have tweeted it years ago, the punchline, but I couldn't remember the setup for the life of me.
Doesn't matter. You got there.
Yeah.
It's obviously been a weird year for everybody, especially the arts industry and especially comedians. It's been absolutely horrible. What's your views on online gigs as opposed to live gigs? Have you done many online gigs?
Well, I've got one straight after this, actually.
All right.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I wasn't interested in them at the start of lockdown.
Right.
And I had my hands full anyway with like being a dad, so I wasn't. Yeah, I just kind of didn't do them. But the last sort of couple of months, I've really got into them.
You got into them?
So, yeah, I've figured out how to hook up all my visuals to Zoom now. So, for example, I could just go, "Hey," you know.
You see, I love that.
or it's half eight.
Yes, yes.
Oh damn! It's 8:35. It would have been great if it was half eight then, but never mind. Yeah. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it now. Yeah, because I've got all my sounds, and I think if you can hear a ding, can you?
Yeah. Yeah.
You hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got all my sound effects now as well. So yeah, no, I'm really enjoying them now.
So you're enjoying it, but surely you can't beat live. Is that right? You agree?
Yes. Yes. Although I am quite enjoying doing it in my house without having to leave.
Yeah, the drive back, all the rest of it.
Yes. Oh, yeah. So many drives back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when you're in a car full of comedians and one of them did really well.
Mate, I'm telling you, that must be awful. Right. Who are your favourite comedians, past and present? Who inspires you?
Oh, well, I'm not someone who really was into stand-up initially. So, like, my inspirations are all like Monty Python and Spike Milligan and The Fast Show.
Brilliant.
Big Train, you know, all that stuff. I think Paul Foote is probably the best comedian at the moment.
Right.
A big fan of his. Yeah. I mean, all my inspirations. I like, you know, Monty Python, basically. You know, my hero is John Cleese. And
do you go to a lot of comedy nights as a member of the audience, or do you tend not to bother?
No. I should do though. I should start buying some tickets for gigs next year. Just because, it's just you forget how nice it is going to a gig, you know.
Yeah.
Because you do it so much, but yeah. So the answer to that is no, I don't. But I'm going to make sure I do more of that next year.
Well, I saw you many times at Birdie's, the free club. Many times there. You would always headline there. And then I saw you again in Leicester, and I saw you at Brighton, and then of course I saw you at the Fringe. And it's just, as I say, it's just great to know that you're on a bill, because if you're headlining it, you know you're going to get 10 quality minutes or 15, 20 minutes.
10 minutes out of an hour.
Well, yeah.
10 minutes.
If you've got your own show, you've got an hour, exactly, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. No, I love doing Brighton Fringe. I've always enjoyed it there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great crowds.
Well, it's good. It's a nice little warm up for Edinburgh, isn't it, Brighton? You know. I always go for a week or two. The other thing I wanted to mention as well, because you cheer me up no end. You put.
Well, you've cheered me up actually.
Thank you. You put puns on social media.
I do.
Every other day, or every day, or every other day, and I always acknowledge them, because if you're stressed out with your day, to get a line like that, it's great. Again, are they from your database, or do you make them up, or?
Oh, most of them are made up. Yeah, I mean, if I think of a joke, it just goes straight on social media.
Brilliant.
So yeah, most of those are just straight out, you know, or I see what's trending and then think of a joke for that. You know.
Please keep them coming, because it cheers me up no end, my friend.
Oh, good.
And finally, it's done. Finally, I just wanted to ask if there's anything else you'd like to say, or any gigs coming up. I know you've got a gig straight after this, or do you want to tell me about your book, or
I will have a second book coming out next year.
Yeah.
The end of next year.
Great.
So in time for Christmas.
Yes,
and
I'll be buying it. Oh, have you froze? Oh, mate.
In May. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, well. So there's a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think things will start getting back to normal by March next year, and yeah,
I hope so. There's talk hopefully of the Edinburgh Fringe happening in some shape or form next year, so that'll be a massive boost.
Yeah, I don't think I'll go to the Fringe, but I might go to the 2022 one.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, my friend, that is it. I have enjoyed it so much talking to you, and thank you very much for being my very first interviewee.
Yes, an honour. Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, Richard. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you so much, mate, and all the best to you.
Cheers. Thanks for all your support as well.
All the best.
Cheers. Bye, Richard.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.